Port, they were undefeated, but Hills knocked them off for their first loss of the year. Port will look for redemption versus a Hills team that started off strong. Welcome to Softball SA and live softball action on beautiful Ghana land. Eric Balnar joined by James Harris and Capped Coral medalist Steph Trzynski. Thanks so much, you two, for joining me for the ball game today. I'm excited for another good game of the doubleheader today.
Yeah, can't wait to see some of the action. Heard the early game was a brilliant one, and looking forward to seeing this one as well. Couple of spoilt for star power today. We had a Cath Coral medalist in Lana Kaiser in the first game as a guest commentator, and in this game, of course, the reigning Cath Coral medalist, Steph Trzynski.
Thanks, James. I'm really excited to see how this game plays out. That last game was absolutely phenomenal. So many amazing hits, really good defensive plays too, so I can't wait to see that carry into this game.
On the theme of Cath Coral medalists, one is out of the lineup today, and it's a big out. No Yo Grauer today, and that's similar to the last time they played. Charlotte Dobrozchek played, and she actually pitched pretty well in this game, but Port didn't help themselves too much defensively. Hills, they grabbed the only win of the year versus a Port Adelaide side that now has a little bit of a gap at the top of the table. Port are a really tricky team this year, but a couple key outs might give Hills, well, they always have a chance in a game, but it might work in their favor a little bit today. Yeah,
they were pretty good on Wednesday night as well, only just dropping the game against Sturt, but I think they'll bounce back, seeing as that Gemma Letton, Yo Grau, both not in the starting lineup for Port.
And there's another Cath Coral medalist in that Port Adelaide lineup with Jess Maslin, who I think Port Adelaide are going to have to look towards to be a strong leader today with those couple of those key outs.
And Jess Maslin was not catching that last game that they played versus Hills. So there is some depth to this Port Adelaide team. Look around the diamond. We'll start with, who should we start with? The Hills Heat defensively. We've got Georgia Hood pitching to Georgia King, Peyton Daniels, Danny Perez, Ruby Ballard, and Megan Williams. That's your defense left to right. Daniels at third. Maddie Rocher, Abby Jorgensen, and Sasha Penglaze left to right for the Hills Heat.
I saw Maddie Rocher not in uniform when she was going through the warm-up, maybe doing a fitness test perhaps, or just likes to get changed late. Not sure.
Port Adelaide's, they'll take the field first. So here's their lineup defensively. Jess Maslin catching. Charlize Callahan, or she's getting thrown to first. We'll start with Charlotte Dobrozchek. She's a pitcher you really like, Steph Trzynski.
Yeah, no, Charlotte's come a really long way in her youth. She's still only 15, I think, and she's got a lot more to give as well. You can see already she's already had 15 innings on the season, so she's had a little bit of experience. She threw a couple innings last season too. That ERA right around that 2 mark, which we talked about the other week, is we really want to keep that around 2 or below would be awesome. Charlotte's just going to have to rein in those walks today, and she's going to be really successful.
Defensively at third, Charlize Callahan. Short, Taylor Chillingworth. Tara Liddy at second, Georgia Burr at first. Charlie Nash, Amelia Dolphin, and Zoe Thompson left to right in the outfield. Hills batting lineup, it can be a dangerous one. Abby Jorgensen, she's off to a tremendous start this season. She'll lead things off, followed by Ruby Ballard, Georgia Hood in the middle of the lineup with Megan Williams, Danny Perez, Peyton Daniels, Sasha Penglaze, also off to a great start. Georgia King and Maddie Rocher line up the lineup. It's a plucky Hills team, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very strong throughout their entire lineup. A couple of points I picked up from your conversation there with Steph was that if Dobrozchek keeps her walks down, she might be able to be effective for this side. Well, Hills team don't really walk too much over the 6 games they've played, only the 17 walks, 8 of them coming from Georgia Hood, who's been intentionally walked twice as well. So she leads the team in walks. So an aggressive team, the Hills Heat. Look for them to swing early in the count.
They lost a nail-biter on Wednesday night versus Sturt. They had a 1-run lead up until the very end of that game. They almost moved to 4-2, which could be costly at the end of the season in a year where everybody is so close in the standings. Magpies at the top with 12 points with a little bit of distance, but not much. We're almost ready to go underway. Dobrozchek's first pitch. Across the plate for a strike versus Abby Jorgensen. Let's play some softball.
A lightning start at the season, Abby Jorgensen. She was 6 from her first 6 at-bats and only 2 from her next 12, but still hitting .444 in the season.
Rides up a little bit high.
You're going to see Charlotte throw that pitch quite a bit this afternoon. She has a really strong rise ball, complemented also with a drop ball that falls off the table. They're going to be the two pitches she relies on today.
Low for a ball. Good lead off so far from Jorgensen. Steph, maybe if you know Dubrovček a little bit better, what is she focusing on? We noticed that the last time she was on TV. She spends a lot of time looking and focusing towards centre field.
I think you'll just see her get into that routine, making sure.
Hard hit over towards third. Callahan gathers, fires, out number 1.
Making sure she takes time to steady herself and relax between every pitch. Going through that same routine every time, no matter who the batter is, seems to settle her quite well.
Ruby Ballard next up to bat for the Hills.
Been a big day for Ruby so far. I arrived at the ballpark to hear that Ruby Dubro, with her first hit in the Premier League, went over the fence.
That was a big shot in game number 1.
It's not a short fence either. It's a pretty deep, pretty high fence, so that's quite impressive for Ruby.
Seen a few of the younger left-handers in the box.
Again, over to third. Callahan quick. 2-5-3 putouts to start the game.
Charlotte working really efficiently there, just throwing, hitting her spots really well, throwing those strikes, getting those hitters to chase, and doing a really good job of not trying to overpower the hitters, but sort of entice the hitters to hit where her fielders are.
Most dangerous bat in the lineup, and Georgia Hood comes to the plate. To a surprise of nobody, she's off to a tremendous start once again. Hitting over 400 to start the year. In with some power.
Having a good time doing it too. She looks pretty happy to be here.
Hood jammed a little bit. It's an awkward one, but Georgia Burr makes the play.
You spoke of efficiency for Dubrovček there, Steph. She's pitching about 59% strike percentage. That inning went pretty cruisy for her, I'd say. That'll improve the strike percentage a bit.
Yeah, I mean, 59% might sound a little bit low, but when we're talking about one inning, we were discussing before, stats tend to figure themselves out over the course of the game. So we'll see where that ends later on.
Well, Georgia Hood about to walk into the circle. She is off to a tremendous start this season. She pitched really well on Wednesday night, almost hard done by for Hills to come away with the loss. She's the only pitcher that Hills have thrown this season. I think every other team has thrown 2 so far this year, but Georgia Hood, certainly the woman to watch in this game, and there's a look at her numbers. 33
innings pitched, 7 earned runs. She lost without giving up an earned run on Wednesday night. Batting average against of 183 is probably one of the better ones in the competition. I noticed she's wearing a cap today. Haven't really ever seen her play in a cap before.
Maybe she's worried about her sunburnt part. Happens to the best of us.
46 strikeouts as well, so she's second in the league in strikeouts, just behind veteran Jade Peterson.
And you see that sub-2 ERA that we're really looking for.
Sub-2 ERA, sub-200 batters average against. Makes it really tricky to generate offense when a pitcher is throwing numbers like that. And it's no small sample size anymore now that she's over 30 innings into the year. Throwing to Georgia King. Defensively, a bit of a change from some other years. They've had Amber Hood catching for a long time.
Georgia Ballard's done a bit of the work this year as well. But Hills on Wednesday night were so impressive in the field, giving up early base runners to the Falcons, but were able to defend. And it wasn't until the very last moment where Sturt was able to score on a couple of decisions made in the field that you probably would have thought maybe give up a run and make an out at home or out at first. But yeah, Hills looked pretty good in defense, short up by that left side, Perez and Daniels.
Amelia Dolphin leads things off for Port. She's crammed her way into the leaderboard of hitters early on this season. This is game number 8 for the Magpies. We're now in the mid part of the season, I think we can officially say, which is crazy to think about. Dolphin, Chillingworth, Callahan due up this inning. Jess Maslin batting 4th. Georgia Burr, a very talented up-and-coming hitter, batting 5th. Liddy, Nash, Oates, and Thompson round out the lineup. 2 big outs for Port. That's Gemma Letton and also Yo Grauer, both off to big starts this year. And Amelia Dolphin continues her strong start, leading things off with a single.
10th hit of the season. Last time we saw her in the leadoff spot was when Gemma Letton wasn't available, and she had a big game against the Falcons, was the match winner for diving catches in the outfield. We spoke to her after the game. She said, I'll put the lot body on the line anytime.
She seems to get better and better every time I watch them. It's really fun to watch someone like Amelia play.
Amelia Dolphin, one of the breakout players this season, the breakout player last year. Well, certainly in cementing herself as one of the better hitters in the competition. Taylor Chillingworth up to bat.
She's around her average from last year as well. She was teetering around the 400 mark for most of the season, ended up just below 400 or just around it, and that's where she sits at the moment, 381.
And I think that puts her 5th on our team in batting this year.
It's not a bad team to be a part of, is it?
The Magpies with the highest team batting average in the competition. Hill's number 2. So this is a battle between the 2 best hitting teams in the first chunk of the season. Chillingworth shows bunt. It just goes foul.
That was well read from Williams. She had probably a chance to catch it. Let's have a look at the leading team's replay, but in the end it dropped short of her, so she decided to leave it as it spun out of play.
Megan Williams today at first playing against her former team. Chillingworth over to third, takes a hop on Peyton Daniels, over to short, Perez just eats it. First 2 runners aboard.
Yeah, good signs to start off with for the Magpies. They've got a couple of speedsters on early with Callahan in the 3 spot.
Callahan, then Maslin. These Magpies can score a lot of runs.
Her stats are almost identical to Chillingworth. 8 for 21 on the season, 381 batting average.
6th best on the team. Crazy.
Equal 5th.
Lays down the bunt. Georgia Hood makes the safe play over to first. So that's the first out of the inning.
Interesting defensive tactic for the Hills Heat. Their corners were both back, leaving Hood to do all the fielding for a short play.
Yeah, we do see that sometimes. Georgia Hood is a pitcher, but an awesome fielder and an awesome hitter too. So definitely have a lot of confidence in her to field those balls, but it is interesting that they went with that this early on.
One of the big off-season recruits, Jess Maslin, moving from Seacombe, who don't have a team in the Premier League competition this year. She moves over to Port Adelaide, and she's a big bat and has been for a long time.
Leading team's replay. It looked like Georgia had all the time in the world to make that play, but Callahan did the job, advancing both runners.
Maslin just holds on, lets it go outside.
Only 2 RBIs for Maslin this season, which is surprising seeing she's hitting 421. She has got 8 hits for the season. Both her hits, 2 hits with runners in scoring position for the season.
Couple strikes on Maslin. Tips it foul. Stays alive. This lineup's still so deep, even though they're missing 2 of their better hitters. Port Adelaide off to a great start this year, but they were off to a great start last year too. Maslin just does enough to lift it to the outfield. And the Magpies have their first run of the game as that ball's now trickled all the way to the fence. Maslin hustling for 3. She's driven in 2. And the Magpies are in flight.
Well, just wait till you see this replay. It beat everyone It just missed the glove of the shortstop. It just missed the diving left fielder. It just missed the diving centre fielder. Oh, she overrun it, and then it missed the left fielder. So, Maslin got lucky there, but poor Magpies have put 2 on the board early in the game.
She'll take it. 2 RBIs for Maslin, doubles her total.
Chillingworth so fast. Looked like she was going to get held up from coach at third base Ben Lucas, but then when he saw it get past both outfielders, she was easily going to score, and then Maslin makes it all the way to third, so not out of danger yet. Hills Heat. Georgia Bird, 333 average, batting 1,000 with runners in scoring position.
That's quite a statistic there, isn't it? 1,000.
How many opportunities has she had?
4 hits, 2 sacrifices.
Okay, so
and a walk with runners in scoring position.
So that's not just one time she's been up.
But yeah, forget. I'm not in good form. Wednesday night I cursed a couple of decent batters to get strikeouts. And it was back-to-back. It was Belle White and Maddie Cameron. Neither of them had strikeouts in the season, and I said, nah, they won't strike out.
Both of them had pretty big games today to make up for it. Belle White was just a double away from the cycle today.
You said earlier she made a diving catch as well.
Unbelievable
Maddie
diving
Cameron
catch.
made a diving catch, so doing it with the bat and the glove. Tough to beat the Falcons when both those guys are in form. And then I've done it again.
You have done it again as Burr swings and misses. That's just the second strikeout on the Diamonds today in Premier League. There was only 1 strikeout combined in a 6-inning game in game number 1 today.
47 on the season for Hood, just a couple behind Jade Peterson. She should be in action. I haven't heard any late news. No one seems to be starting their race today, besides Hills, of course.
Charlie Nash up to bat.
Yeah, and I think Port Adelaide have just worked that out. They better call timeout to change it.
They might be batting out of order, or at least the lineup that we were given.
Well, you'd think the Hills scorer would be all over that one as well.
Unless we were given the wrong lineups, which is possible. It could have been a late change. We don't have the official lineup scorecard in front of us. But the one that we were given has Liddy at 6 and Nash at 7.
Oh, it looks like Ben might have had that thought now.
They've just worked it out. So this will mean that Tara Liddy's got to come in with the same
2-1 count.
And at least they caught it.
Yeah, so Hills wouldn't have been able to do anything until the player had reached base. Then they could have appealed it, but Port Adelaide have the opportunity to replace the batter in time. So Tara Liddy will come to the box. She hasn't faced a pitch, but she'll have a 2-1 count.
There are worse counts to come into.
Yeah.
Could be 1 ball, 2 strikes. That would be a different story. Or 0 ball, 2 strikes. That would be brutal.
Well, at least they caught it. Liddy up to bat. Subbing in for the start of the at-bat that Charlie Nash gave her. 2 outs and a runner on third. And it slips away, and it won't even be a play at the plate. The Magpies have 3 to start this game off.
How's that for an at-bat for Liddy? Comes in, sees 1 ball, 3-1 count, and she helps score a run. Not a bad outing.
She looked locked and loaded as well, ready to swing on that first pitch. So.
Swing and a miss. Brings the count full. What a start for the Magpies.
It's been a great, magical start to the season for them.
Liddy stays alive. They started 6-1. They got 12 points entering the day. They had 4-point gap over 4-2 Sturt. Sturt won earlier today, so they've moved up to 10 points. Then a log jam of teams between 3 and 5. Hills in the middle of all that. Liddy. Georgia Hood makes the play, and that will do it for inning number 1. Port Adelaide efficient in the circle and then pretty good with the bat, and they have a 3-0 lead after 1 inning.
Well, it's probably gone as expected so far for Port Adelaide. They've just come out ultra aggressive as they've been the entire season so far, and they put 3 on the board against an impressive Hills Heat team who knocked them off 7-0 last time they played.
Looking for a little bit of redemption. Haven't seen a full strength Port side face Hills yet, but not even an 80% Magpies looks pretty dangerous, don't they?
And I love watching this hitting team too, because a lot of them have... Whoa, someone just took a tumble out there. A lot of them are all very, very young. In fact, a heap of them, I think, are still in school. And these girls come out swinging with no expectations. They're out there just having fun, swinging the bat hard, and it is working so well for them.
Yeah, very young lineup, both teams. I think we mentioned it Wednesday that Megan Williams, the only player over the age of 21 in the Hills roster. And then you look at the Magpies, you've got Jess Maslin, who's mid-20s, and also Liddy, but everyone else on this team is a teenager.
Doesn't feel like it, though, for Hills, does it? Peyton Daniels has played a few years now of Premier League. Danny Perez has been around for a while. Maddie Rocher the same way. Just because they're young doesn't mean they don't have a lot of at-bats at this level.
But good to see the 30-year-olds doing it today with Belle White having a game.
Big game from Belle White.
Oh, that's a message to the entire softball community. You don't eat your straps until you reach the magical 30s, and some of us even in the 40s. Right, Eric?
Right.
Yeah.
Megan Williams leads things off. Danny Perez, Peyton Daniels also due up. Some just get going right away, like Ruby DeBro.
Yeah, what a great start to a career.
First hit, first home run.
Megan Williams quite watchful, so this will test Dubrovček. You'd think Steph, with those number of walks that she had, almost won an inning.
Yeah, well, that first inning that Charlotte pitched in, there weren't too many. She didn't have to throw many pitches, so potentially Hills are taking a different approach here, letting her throw some pitches so they can see a little bit more.
First base runner of the day for Hills as Megan Williams works a walk.
Yeah, Megan Williams always likes to see a couple before she takes the bat off the shoulder. They've got some young, patient hitters as well in their lineup in Georgia King, Georgia Ballard as well, with a fair few walks. So, yeah, for this bottom part of the lineup, she'll need to challenge the batters, get it in the strike zone.
Danny Perez. A few hits on the season to start the year. Lays down the bunt, and it could be a good one. It just goes foul. Jess Maslin had to dance around it to let that go.
Callahan was cool and calm. She always looked like she was going to leave that. And then in comes Maslin, and watch the leading team's replay here. I think she nearly went for it too.
She charged down the line.
It did look like that Charlie started to hesitate a little bit when she saw Jess Maslin coming towards her.
Well, that was always Callahan's ball, and I think Maslin picked up the pace when she saw Callahan take her foot off.
She was a fingernail away from touching that in fair territory. Inside.
Hills Heat only one stolen base on the season, so expecting the ball to be moved around or put into play for the runners to advance. Been caught stealing twice, so that's probably why they've only got the one stolen base, is that they've only attempted it 3 times, unsuccessful twice.
The 2 top hitting teams going head-to-head in the competition. Perez in the air. Maslin making a diving effort on it. She came close. It was a great attempt from Maslin. Just drifted away.
That was an incredible effort by Jess. And I tell you, even though she didn't quite come away with that catch, we can see right here she was so close. As a pitcher, you love seeing that from your catcher because you can see that the rest of your team are doing absolutely everything they can to make your life a bit easier.
It's a walk, so back-to-back walks to start the inning. It was a quick 1-2-3 inning in the first, and then 3 runs scored for Port Adelaide. Hills haven't responded yet, but they're certainly asking the question. Peyton Daniels.
In a bit of a purple patch. All 3 of her hits this season have come from the last 2 games. Shows bunt this time.
Probably really announced herself last year during the finals series. A few key hits. Hills got all the way to the championship game.
A couple years ago when we had nationals here, Peyton was a real key hitter on the team who seemed to come in every single time as a pinch hitter and get the job done every single time, no fail. She was one of the most reliable hitters we had on the bench that we knew would bring her in any situation and she would do the job. So pressure is definitely something that she handles really well.
Lays down the bunt. This will stay fair. It advances both the runners. And it's a loose ball, and the Hills are on the board.
Well, yeah, good running from Megan Williams. She saw the throw come across from Liddy. It tipped the glove of Chillingworth, who was covering third, and she took off as soon as she saw that ball go loose. Here's the leading team's replay. Great bunt play and aggressive in the field from Liddy, taking Chillingworth off the base, and then the aggressive running also from Perez, diving in there head first.
1 down, 1 run in, and 1 runner standing on third.
Yeah, here's the other reverse angle from the leading team's replay and the run scoring. Sasha Penglace, I saw a graphic earlier on to show she's in the top dozen players in the competition for batting average at the moment. Sasha Penglace, 4 for 9, hitting .444, including a couple of hits on Wednesday.
That's a handy pickup for Hills then, isn't it?
Yeah, 3rd club in about 4 or 5 years, I think.
Penglace down the line. They're going to make a play at home. It was they've scored the run. It's 3-2. Perez got in there easily.
And this will be a good one to see on the replay.
Yeah, I love me a squeeze play.
Yeah, Georgia Bird just had to come across to her right-hand side and fumbled in the transition and doesn't get the throw home in time. So short game, really working for the Hills in this inning to get back in the game after chasing 3.
Look at the leading team's replay. Lots of time for Perez.
She let off that base right away. There was no hesitation.
Still only 1 out.
You might be able to hear Coach Scott Humphreys really audible calling out the encouragement and the signals as well. Most of the time you can't hear the coaches from where we sit in our position, but you can hear them loud and clear from here.
Hills started off winning 3 of their first 4 games. They've lost their last 2. They've certainly been in them.
Yeah, 1 run loss to Walkerville on Saturday. They out-hit Walkerville to lose that game, and then 1 run to Sturt.
Steps on it for 1, and Bird just has that throw wayward. Runner will stay at second. 2 down. Yeah, Hill's not far off from being 5-1 realistically.
Interesting making that throw to second there, because as soon as she touches that base, she takes that force off at second. So it needed to be a tag throw to get that run around. It was no longer a force.
Final batter in the 9, Maddie Rocher. Hills the last couple years, and especially this year, they've had a couple handy young talent acquisitions, haven't they?
Both of these teams have.
Williams, Rocher, Penglaze, Ella Forrester, who moved from Port Adelaide to Hills.
Yeah. As did Williams.
.30 count. 2 walks started off the inning for Dubrovčak.
Charlotte looked like she's just struggling to find that top of the zone a little bit. She might need to stick with more of that drop or that curve and really work on painting the corners as she did just there. Just looking like she's starting to miss that top spot with her rise ball, and that's why she's falling behind the count a little bit.
Finds a strike there. Hitters count still for Maddie Rocher. And Charlotte's worked her way back in this at bat.
Third walk on the inning as Rocher takes a 4th ball. Timeout called from head coach Ben Lucas. He hasn't needed to do this too often this season. Comes out trying to settle his team as the Hills will go round to the top of their order, and they take a chance to have a chat as well with 2 out.
Yeah, well, it was a very simple first inning for Port, defensively at least, and this inning anything but, with 3 walks, couple runs in already, couple errant throws.
The Hills definitely made a really good adjustment coming out that second inning. That first inning, they were maybe a little bit too eager to swing, were swinging at pitches that probably weren't great hitting pitches to swing at. They were great pitches. But then this second inning, they've come out, they've been a lot more patient, there's been a lot more called strikes, but because of that, there's also been a lot more balls, and they've seen a lot of pitches.
Yeah, great point there, Steph. Now, from Coach Steph Instagram page, if Charlotte was one of your students, what would you tell her in this situation? What would have Ben gone out to tell her?
Well, Charlotte, knowing her as a person, she's really, really cool-headed. She's very, very analytical and critical of her own pitching, as I'm sure a lot of pitchers out there are. So I just go out there and encourage her to breathe, have some fun, and try and not to think too much between the head of hers, just to relax and throw hard, because she knows she can do it. She's got all the right stuff. Sometimes she tends to overthink a little bit.
Ground ball, bobbled a little bit, and it's going to cost them. The Heat are going to tie this game up. Runners advance to scoring position. Ball in play for Jorgensen, and it's 3-3.
Yep, Abby Jorgensen pulls that ball hard. It goes in the 5-6 hole. Chillingworth did well to get across to it, but then just couldn't complete that play. Knocks off her glove and then towards left field. 1 run scores, ties the game up. 2 runners in scoring position. This is a danger batter for Port Adelaide because Georgia Hood is on deck.
And on that, you can see with Charlotte, they haven't necessarily been hitting her that hard. So making sure she has the confidence to stand there and throw her pitches, knowing that they're not out there hitting her that hard right now. She just needs to work on her pitches and throwing her stuff.
Ruby Ballard still in the under 16 age group. Couple of hits for the years, 3 walks, so 455 on base average.
So young.
Just protecting that one on the outside edge.
Well, the Magpies had done something that's really hard to do, and that's get a 3-run lead on Georgia Hood, who's got an ERA of less than 2 and batters average against of less than 200. But that, as quickly as they built that, it's disappeared.
Great point. It was, we mentioned the numbers at the top of the show, and she's one of the hardest pitchers in the league to put away, and they managed to put 3 in 1 inning.
And now Georgia Hood comes up to bat. She's the 9th batter in this lineup.
This could be a turning point for the game for either team. If Port Adelaide managed to buckle down here and get themselves an out, absolute turning point for them. But for Hills, what a great opportunity for them to take the lead.
There's only a handful of moments you look back on at the end of the game when you're looking at your scorecard and you circle and say, yep, this was the ball game here. And we might be looking at it right now. 3-3.
Hood wasn't happy with that call. She can hit anything that's, you know, even in or just out of the strike zone. She's got such great hands and she meets the ball so well. But I think she's looking for one right down the middle here to put the biggest possible dent into the scoreline as possible.
Charlotte popped her up to first base in that first inning. She did a really good job of jamming her. So the key thing here is not letting Georgia's hands get too extended.
Went after it. Chopped it foul, 2-2 count with bases juiced.
What a great opportunity for Charlotte to pitch in a game like this against a hitter of the caliber of Georgia Hood. What a great opportunity for a 15-year-old.
A 15-year-old versus a player that's on the Australian national team. And Hood just had to fight that one off.
She's got a number at the moment, Dubrovcek. We're almost all waiting just to see what happens. It's hard to comment when you're so fixated on what this outcome's going to be.
Now the pictures will say it all, and Hood goes crunch towards center field. Dolphin having a look, and it goes off the wall. They've scored one, and Georgia Hood is going to clear them all.
6 on the inning for the Hills. 3 of them coming off the bat of Georgia Hood. She hits the fence on the full. Can't help but think it was Dolphin nearly there. Was she almost a chance to rob her of that hit? 3-run double. Leading teams replay, dead center. That's an 8-foot fence as well that she's got to clear. So great shot from Hood.
Bit of carry in the ball today. There was a couple balls that cleared the fence earlier, and Maddie Cameron was just one rep away from clearing the fence.
Megan Williams leaded this inning off, didn't she?
She did. Started it off with a walk. Perez walked. They moved runners over with a bunt.
10th hitter of the inning and 6 runs scored.
We saw a squeeze play. The inning started off with them just manufacturing some runs. But there's no better way to score runs than with one crisp, cool swing of the bat with the bases loaded for Georgia Hood. And she's got 3 ribbies to make it 6-3. Williams puts the ball in play. It's off to Broschek, and I think they just have to hold on. They do. Hood to third, and Williams to first.
You hate games like this. When you're a Port fan, like, it can happen to any team. Like, hits just find the gaps. They just tip the edge of the glove. They just out of reach of the fielders, and they've already given up 6. But it could be more with Perez swinging freely.
Fielding has not been perfect for Port this inning.
Well, I've got one hit for Hills this inning. That was that double. So that was that really timely shot from Georgia, because I've got a walk, sack bunt, squeeze bunt, which goes down as a fielder's choice. Put out, walk, an error, and another walk.
I've got 2 errors and four walks. One hit, 4 walks, 2 errors, 2 bunts.
So Hills doing a really good job of manufacturing runs, and like you said earlier, and just taking the opportunity where it comes.
This the 11th batter of the inning.
I guess it's tough on the young pitcher as well, because by the sounds of that score sheet, she's been doing her job, the ball getting into play, and you know, a couple of plays for the field haven't really gone their way. And so they really need to step it up for young Dubrovcek. As I recall, her first game of the season was a 1-hit shutout. That was against Glenelg. And since then, she has given up another 13 hits over the 14 innings that she has pitched. So just another 1 today. Scoreline doesn't reflect the effort she's doing.
She gets a strikeout to end the inning, but the damage was done really at the hands of Georgia Hood, who had the bases clearing double. But 6 runs across the board, 11 come to plate. And Hills, they were entered the inning down 3, and now they will go to the bottom half up 3.
36 minutes into the game and we're only 1.5 innings in. So Port do get the opportunity to reply and return serve, so to speak. And we can see there in the background of that shot that Coach Ben Lucas just having a word to his shortstop, Taylor Chillingworth. He was a shortstop himself in his playing days.
Yeah, it was probably a tough inning with a couple errors over at shortstop and one at third base as well. What would a coach be trying to say to a player after an inning like that?
Keep your head down over the ball, watch it into the glove, and then you can make all the plays in the world. The moment that you try and make the play before you even have it is probably the biggest mistake you can make in the infield. It's too dynamic of a game to think of something before it happens. Know it's going to happen, but make sure you complete the play as well. You see a lot of the elite players in this game will get the basics right, and yeah, Chillingworth missed one that was probably gettable earlier in that inning.
Well, it's certainly a long game, so I'm sure Chillingworth will have a couple opportunities to make good here. Charlie Nash comes up to bat. This is her first, well, it's her first at-bat of the game, but it's not the first time she's been to the plate. She came out of order at the end of that last inning. They then had to put Tara Liddy into plate. That was probably the start of where things start to go a bit sideways for Port in this last 20 minutes or so. Nash, another under 16 player, lays down a bunt, and Hood will just tag her out.
Not a bad move there from Charlie or from Coach Ben. Potentially he's identified that the corners are staying back and Georgia's coming through. You can see she tried to bunt that down the first baseline, knowing that that first base fielder was hit back just a little bit too far towards Georgia, the pitcher.
Taylor Oates getting her first start in a number of years, we're told, in the Premier League competition. Swings through it.
Yeah, a couple of outs for the Magpies, and you draw upon some of your more experienced B graders perhaps, and still swinging that Eastern Ghost as well. So, you know, that adds a couple of 50 points or so onto your batting average.
That next woman up mentality in this lineup.
Dubrovcek just in the bullpen. She didn't throw enough pitches in that inning.
I did tell you she's very analytical of her own pitching. She'll be out there probably trying to work on whatever she thinks has just off.
Oates puts it in play, grabbed by Ballard. Oh, that's 2 down.
Yeah, a couple of quick outs. Good play from Ruby Ballard. Georgia opting for the tag on that, fielding that ground ball before Steph. You looking to just make the play over to first, or would you be putting the body on the line for that tag as well?
Well, I think when she picked that ball up, her momentum was cutting so far across that by the time she took that extra step and tried to throw, she would have been competing almost with the runner and throwing against her buddy. So I liked that decision of Georgia.
She almost ran into her, didn't she?
Yeah, a little bit.
Zoe Thompson up to bat.
Had a triple on Wednesday night, I believe. Zoe Thompson scored a couple runs. She'll sometimes come up to bat left-handed, right-handed, so a little bit of a switch hitter.
Yeah, you're right. 1 hit for the season. It was a triple with 2 RBIs.
Done my homework, James.
Well done, Steph.
Not a whole lot of batters that line up on that left side. Thompson's not there now, but as a switch hitter.
She is quick, so if she is in that left side of the box and she puts that bunt down, she will rabbit her way up to first base.
Georgia Hood finds the strike zone, her second strikeout of the day. It's a 1-2-3 inning. We're through 2. Hills using that powerful top half of the frame. They're up 6-3 after 2.
It's good pitching from Georgia Hood. We all know that Port Adelaide have the highest batting average in the competition to this point, but they have the lowest amount of strikeouts as well.
Well, 11 batters came to plate in that last inning. That bottom part of the lineup was very productive. That'll start things off. Peyton Daniels, Sasha Penglaze, and Georgia King for the Hills will get us started in the third. But you're right, James. These are games, you mentioned earlier about the time. These games are just 7 innings long or an hour and a half, whatever comes first. We're almost at the midway point in terms of time, and we've just played 2 innings.
Has been. There's been a lot of pitches thrown. I think both for both teams, their hitting innings have been long. That last one was a quick one, but there's been some. That first inning, they got through 6 hitters. Georgia had to throw a lot of pitches, and then that last inning for Charlotte, she obviously threw a lot of pitches. So lots of pitches thrown.
Broschek had 4 walks in the last inning. She'll look to calm that down in this one. 3 runs, very gettable for the top hitting team in the competition.
So Charlotte can work on getting ahead of the count here, throwing strikes early. Hills only have that 1 hit on her so far. So if I were her, I'd be throwing strikes until they show that they can hit it.
Gets the first pitch strike. I'd be curious to know what her first pitch strike rate is. She's ahead 0-2. A much better start to this inning for Dobroschek.
36 first pitch strikes on 70 batters faced, so 50%.
Probably supports her stat line.
I thought you had me on that one, Eric.
Down low, so Daniels takes a couple. Three straight balls. And Daniels has to fight one off. Another lengthy at bat for Peyton Daniels. She'll be facing her 7th pitch as the leadoff batter in this inning.
Charlotte did a good job of getting ahead early in this count, but then has sort of took her foot off the pedal almost and given Peyton an opportunity to relax.
Steph, in between batters, I'm going to ask you a question just about the age of Charlotte and in comparison to yourself. So if you don't remember when you first started, we'll get to that in a moment.
Peyton Daniels battled her way throughout that entire at-bat. She was down 0-2, took a few balls, fouled a couple off, and she's aboard with a lead-off single.
Yeah, she grinded it out and then got one that she liked, drove it to left side and lead off aboard for the Hills. Now my question, Steph, is there she is on screen, Charlotte Dobroschek, 15 years of age and 1 month when she threw her 1-hit shutout against Glenelg. How old were you when you had a start in the Premier League?
I don't know. It was for TVR back in the day. It was for Torrens Valley, I reckon.
Valley?
I would have been about that age. I reckon I was 14, but I don't know if I was pitching.
Okay.
I'd start in the field, run around in right field. I don't know.
Oh,
My mother would probably know. She sat right there.
our history books don't go that far. We've only been keeping the stats of the Premier League for the last 3 seasons.
You make me feel old, James.
Yeah, well, I was going to then pump your tyres a little bit to say how far you'd gone. So, yeah, if the comparison's anything to go by, massive career ahead for this young lady, Charlotte Dobroschek.
Was there ever a moment where you, as a pitcher in this competition, where you felt like you didn't belong, or did you always feel like, yep, this is where I'm meant to be, even from a young age?
I wouldn't say I felt like I didn't belong. I think all the girls on the team that I've had around me all through my career have always been really supportive. In fact, I think she's on the bench or a coach for Hills over there is Lauren Christensen. I vividly remember her being one of the senior players around when I was coming through, and I've always had really good players around me that were really welcoming and really supportive of me.
So did you feel comfortable in that first start?
Well, I honestly,
as comfortable as you could?
I don't remember it. So
putting you on the hot seat right now.
It couldn't have been that traumatic.
You're still going.
Yeah.
Dobroschek, though, she struck out Sasha Penglaze in that last at-bat. The last 2 outs she's recorded have been by the strikeout. And she's again ahead in the count, 0-2. lifted right field into foul territory. She's got ahead in the count in all 3 of the batters she's faced this inning, Dubrovček.
Maybe that extra bit of work in the bullpen in between innings has worked, Steph. She does look a bit more dialed in this inning compared to the last where she gave up 6.
To right field, will it stay fair? It goes foul.
Georgia King's shown some very good hands hitting the outside pitches. In the 5 games she's played so far this season, 3 hits. I'd say that all be right side hits. So looks very good on the outside edge.
So an inside rise ball from Charlotte is what you're. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm back in the batter.
Over towards first. They're going to try to turn one. The throw, Aaron.
Well, it was the right decision this time, Steph. You mentioned it last time. She played the base first and then the throw needed to be a tag. But this time round, she has played the lead runner, trying to roll a pair. Got a hard hit, so it was the right one to do it on. But Taylor Chillingworth, all her body weight was going one direction, all her momentum. She had to stop, try and take a specky, but out of range. So left fielder on the spot again, Charlie Nash with the backup.
I think also on that play, Georgia had plenty of time in that, and it looked like maybe she just rushed or she just came up and threw right away without letting herself set.
Maddie Rocher in the air. Caught over at first. 2 down. Errors proved costly last time. And now we go back to the top of the lineup. Abby Jorgensen was one of the benefactors of one of those errors. Trying to capitalize off some second life here this inning for Hills. And once again, a first pitch strike from Dubrovček. Daniels at second.
Top of the third and third time through the lineup.
That's a good start. Yeah, 3 at-bats and 3 innings for Abby Jorgensen.
And is there any bench players for Port Adelaide? I don't have the lineup in front of me there. No,
for
that's a Hills
Hills, there's no Holly Tolja just for Port Adelaide, and Ella Forrester for Hills. And a big strikeout from Charlotte Dubrovček, her second of the inning. The threat eliminated, and Port still in touch.
Yeah, she took a big sigh of relief on that third strike. That was a called strike. That one's for Josh. But the third out just came right at the right moment for Dubrovček. I was just going to say maybe they do have to go to one of their young pitchers. A couple of their young players in this lineup do pitch, but only in the junior grade. So they use a smaller ball in that age group as well. So be interesting to see what the plan would be if Charlotte gave up another 6, but she got out of that inning with a couple of strikeouts.
They do have a couple on the bench, but that inning, you'll notice Charlotte threw to 5 hitters and 4 of them had first pitch strikes. So a lot more success when she can get ahead early and start to make the ball spin and make the ball move and tempt those hitters with some of those pitches. Or the balls right on the edge of the plate.
And she had to face an extra batter, too, because there was an error on one of the plays. Back to the top of the lineup for Port Adelaide. We're talking already about the 3rd time through for the Hills Heat. 2nd time through will commence at the bottom of the 3rd inning. Amelia Dolphin, Taylor Chillingworth, Charlize Callahan, and Jess Maslin, if they can get it that far. Maslin had the 2 RBIs back in the 1st inning. The top of the lineup got it done. That's where they've scored all 3 of their runs from those first 4 batters. Amelia Dolphin led the game off with a single. Or the hitting attack, at least, for Port Adelaide. And Dolphin swings right through that from Georgia Hood.
Yeah, has been making great clean contact when she's been swinging the bat so far this season.
Swings hard too, Amelia.
Quick.
Quick, yeah.
It's just such a completely different player to what we saw last year, and it just shows the effects that little niggle injury that she had last year can have.
She did say this is the first Premier League season she's had that full off season for, but she swings and misses. 3 strikeouts for Georgia Hood.
That was a great little off-speed pitch. It was a bit quicker than a change-up. She throws this like nasty little drop off-speed thing.
Nasty little drop off-speed thing.
That's the one.
It's a good pitch.
It was a great pitch.
Chillingworth. Would allow the 3 runs. I think just one of them will go down as earned for Georgia Hood in the first inning on the unofficial scorebook that we have. She's retired her last 6 with 3 strikeouts.
A low pitch, she got under that one.
Maddie Rocher makes the play.
Yeah, you can tell from the shirts and the hat nearly blowing off the center fielder there. It's pretty blustery out there. So as that ball was lifted, would have been swirling around a bit. So a good catch in the end from Maddie Rocher. She made it look easy.
Charlize Callahan, 0 for 1 on the day. Came in with some heat, but inside, so hitters count.
I like that from Georgia King, very young catcher, but she'd get the glove there to show the umpires miss one, I think. She's getting her signals over at first base. So we've seen that a couple of times this year from Hills Heat.
Bouncing ball, Daniels nicely gloved, but the throw is in the dirt, and Callahan will hold at first.
She's made a couple of great plays over the last few days. She was play of the night the other night against the Falcons. A hard hit shot off Bell White. She gloved it one step to her left, or one step to her right, our left, for the force out, then threw it over for the double play. This time around, gloves a great one. Just let herself down with the throw, and Callahan aboard.
Jess Maslin already with a couple RBIs today, has a runner on base. The ball squeezes through everybody like it did last time. Could be trouble.
It was a little out of sorts for Jess swinging at one above the head, say. Maybe a predetermined swing.
There's that nasty little drop off speed thing, Eric. That's it right there. Found it.
Doesn't look fun to hit.
No, it's very effective when Georgia can spot it and then throw back to back with something a bit harder. As long as she keeps it low, it's a great pitch.
And a look of disbelief for Jess Maslin, but it's going down as a strikeout. 4th of the day. And that's a big scalp to take for Georgia Hood. We're through 3, and it's a 6-3 lead. Don't know if we'll get a look at the leading team replay of that one, but there was a big expression from Jess Maslin immediately after that call.
Yeah, but you will also see that Georgia Hood liked it as well. So
yeah,
she knew that it was a strike. And let's have a look at the leading team's replay. You watch her start heading off.
No, it was a good pitch.
Before the umpires called it.
Right on the in. Yeah, she knew. Yeah, it's great from you, James. She's walking off after it's called it, but that grabbed the inside edge of the plate. This will get a look of Maslin's face, though.
Yeah, I don't see much wrong with it. It's good setup from King. Maslin didn't like it. Thing is, she's catching, so I'm sure she'll be asking the question. Oh, was that a ball too far in? And then she'll want them called for her as well. So Magpies not having it their own way at the moment. Hills Heat, they just keep, they're always in the contest, aren't they? And they've had a couple of big scalps this season as well. They beat Sturt earlier in the year. They knocked off Port Adelaide, so 2 teams that sit above them this season. on the ladder. So, and they're in control of this one.
Big moment in the game in terms of where the lineup is. We're reaching that hour point of a 90-minute game. But Ballard, Hood, and Williams due up.
Yeah, you called it brilliantly, Steph, earlier on to say that this was the moment when Georgia Hood came up to bat, loaded bases, hit it into the fence, onto the full, scored 3 runs, and that's the difference in this game at the moment. Bit more humble than Lee, Steph. He would have been claiming that.
Lee in the last game was in fine form, I'll have you know. On 2 different occasions, he wrote down on the scorecard exactly what was going to happen before it happened. He had a hit to center and a hit to left field.
He's
Did he have an Amelia Dolphin home run?
Not Ruby DeBro home run. No,
yeah,
he did not have a Ruby DeBro home run. He had the Bell White home run, though. Ballard.
I'd let that roll in.
I thought that was going to come back in, yeah.
Lee is just lingering around. He knows that you've got to head off to go warm up soon, Steph, for your game against the Rebels. What time? It's 6 o'clock that game.
What do you got for us tonight? Are you pitching this game?
Can't give away my secrets, Eric.
Okay, we'll wait and find out.
Like the rest of you.
Well, the team of commentators, we talk a lot between games, don't we?
Oh, look, so you can see it wanted to spin back in.
Oh,
it
producer
didn't quite.
Brandon just right
Yeah,
onto
that
it
was
there.
good.
Producer Brandon coming up with a quick replay at Space Quake Sports. By the way, Lee Hull right now was just having a long chat with Georgia Hood. It was standing in the batter's box. Ballard puts it in play. Scooped up by Burr, who was pretty close play in the end.
That was a risky taken on Ruby Ballard in a foot race. Good play.
2 rising stars going or colliding at first base right now. Yeah, she looked up and she had to go. Georgia Hood, though, very important that there's no one on for her from a Port Adelaide perspective. Swings at the first pitch. It takes a big Hills hop over to left field, and it's the second hit of the day for Georgia Hood.
Yeah, she hit it right into the ground, and it bounced well over the head of third base Charlize Callahan for Hood's second hit of the game. Since Georgia's 3-run double, how's Dobrocek gone? She's looks like she's really reined it in a bit.
She's got a couple strikeouts. 3 strikeouts, yeah. There was that error that it was allowed, but yep, that might have been the first hit. Second hit since then. Peyton Daniels had one.
Be so easy for a young player just to throw in the towel after giving up a 6-run inning, go down by 3 runs, and she's just shown so much fight.
That would never be Charlotte. That would never be Charlotte. She's got a lot of determination, a lot of grit. She does a really good job. Even right now, you can see she keeps that routine the same every single pitch. Her expression on her face the same every single pitch.
She's thrown a lot more first pitch strikes, but that one was turned on by Megan Williams, and all of a sudden Hills have 1 runner in scoring position.
Back-to-back hits, and Danny Perez up to bat. She made good contact.
Yeah.
Off a couple early on in the game that were fouls, earned herself a walk in a long at-bat, but then her second at-bat, it was Dobrocek that got her number.
Yeah, Charlotte's first inning.
Showing bunt, throw over, and that was a good take by Chillingworth.
Great cover from Perez, like to show that bunt, and then making sure that Callahan comes down off the base, and Chillingworth is pretty deep up the middle and wasn't able to get there in time.
2 in scoring position, and 1 for sure is going to score, and it might be 2. There won't even be a close play. It's a double and 2 RBIs for Daniela Perez. It's 8-3.
When she hits them, she stays hit. She's had a triple earlier in the week, and now she's 2-run double. Williams just put her foot down, turned second, always looked like scoring.
And now we'll see if Ben Lucas makes a change, or is he just calming the farm down?
Well, I haven't seen any other pitchers warming up, so this is his last chance to have a conference, I think. You only get 2 conferences.
Well, they've only got...
No, you get 1 an inning, don't you?
1 an inning.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be nobody warming up, but they've only got 1 player on the bench today in Holly Tolja, and I don't think she's a pitcher.
She is a pitcher.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm wrong.
She can pitch. And
So Zoe Thompson can
Zoe
pitch.
Zoe Thompson can pitch, yeah.
Taylor Chillingworth can roll over.
Yeah.
everybody can pitch. Charlize can pitch.
So hard to warm them up when they're in the field.
Yeah, sure is.
I
It's a
think
long chat as well.
The main difference too, that first inning when Charlotte was really successful, Hills came out swinging really early and she got a few cheap outs. In that second inning, they started to lay off a lot of those pitches. They were a lot more patient, made Charlotte throw more pitches. They got to see more pitches. And then that next inning, Charlotte settled a little bit, started throwing a lot more early strikes, and she was successful again. And now this inning, Hills have obviously seen a few more pitches, and every single one of these batters this inning have all seen first pitch strikes, but now they're starting to get on top of it. So I think for Charlotte, it's just finding that balance between those balls and those strikes, and she'll be a little bit more successful.
She's the kind of person that would go back and analyze this game.
Absolutely. Hello, Charlotte. She's probably going to listen to this later.
We've been broadcasting for 5 or so seasons here on Spacequake Sports. How many players do you think actually go back to take a look at their games?
Lifted to center field. It's that awkward gap at the edge of the dirt. Pushes runners to the corners.
Second hit for Daniels in the game.
Good question, James. I think there's definitely a lot out there that will to go back and have a look at their performance and see what they could have done better, for example. Oh, we've got a pinch hitter in the box now, do we? Nice.
Yeah, Ella Forrester's come in for Sasha Penglace. Did Sasha get on last time with that? No.
She put that squeeze bunt down.
Yeah.
She put that squeeze bunt down. I think when I'm revisiting my game, sometimes I spend more time looking at myself and my body language. I've seen the pitches and I've seen what's happened. What I haven't seen is how I've sort of interpreted the game. So sometimes when I go back, that's something that I'm looking for.
How many times is Ruby DeBro going to watch her home run today?
Well, I don't make the suggestions for the must-see plays, but I dare say that our man David Muggleton will put that one up on lights, give her one to remember.
Hard hit ball, good diving effort from 2 Port Adelaide infielders, but it's an RBI for Ella Forrester, a pinch hit RBI nonetheless.
It's probably the second or third time we've seen it this game that Chillingworth just been out of position. I'd probably give her the advice to take a couple of steps back because she's got the range. She can definitely make it. That one's just missed the glove of Callahan and then the glove of Chillingworth. So heartbreaking for Port Adelaide and Dubrovček as another one finds the gap.
5 straight hits. Hood, Williams, Perez, Daniels, and now Forrester has contributed to adding another couple runs on the board.
Nine 3. I definitely didn't expect that scoreline after Port Adelaide jumped out the gates with a 3-run start.
And a 1-2-3 inning. Georgia King to right field, make it 6 hits in a row. Humphreys holds the runner.
It was a better relay from Port Adelaide. We saw that they missed a couple a few weeks ago, probably against the Hills Heat. Actually, last time they played in their 7-0 loss, they had players playing out of position, and that was a better one to restrict that runner from second from scoring.
6 hits in a row. To all different angles of the field, too. They've gone center, left, and right.
What's the scoreline in the earlier game?
10-4. So we're in a shot here to have a 10-4 game. Back-to-back scorelines.
Yeah, I was just thinking of high scoring and big hitting games.
Weird how one thing changes week to week in the land of softball.
Yeah, I think
After
2 weeks ago we did it. The day we did the triple header, we had 3 one-run games.
We had 2-1, 2-1, 3-2.
Yeah. Yeah, so a couple of blowouts though today. What does that mean for your game, Steph? Coming up at 6 o'clock, it's West Torrens versus Glenelg. 5th versus 6th.
Oh, wow. Is that really? Yeah, right. It's going to be a good game. Our last game against Glenelg, they held on right to the very end and fought back when we got close to run rule territory. So Glenelg definitely have a bit of fight in them.
Yeah, they were 2-1 loss against Walkerville, was it? A couple of unearned runs against them as well. Jade Peterson with another big strikeout count.
I think, though, Glenelg, they scored 3 runs in one of their first games of the year, but only 2 since.
It was 8-3 in their first game against Hills Heat.
Just coming back to Maddie here, Charlotte's thrown a lot of pitches this inning, but not very many balls, and we can see 0-2. Maddie's fouled a couple balls off loaded bases, so she might be pitching a little bit more careful, but I think we need to see a little bit more corner and edge. Awesome.
Georgia Burr makes the play. Bases will be loaded with 2 out. 9-3, unlikely, but still gettable for the best hitting team in the competition. Anything more, you feel like it starts to become an even bigger stretch. And Abby Jorgensen, who's the 9th batter to come up this inning.
Charlotte had her looking last time, though, so potentially that gives her a little bit more confidence. Charlotte, that is, not Abby.
Not Abby? Swings through it, and again, Dubrovcek ahead 0-2.
Well, last time the Hills had their 9th batter of the inning up to bat with loaded bases. It was a 3-run shot to Georgia Hood.
Jorgensen stays alive. Almost looking for what could be a decisive knockout blow, Abby Jorgensen. Bottom of the lineup coming up for Port Adelaide in the bottom of the 4th. Outside.
That's a better pitch from Charlotte. They're living a little bit more in the alleys. She's ahead of that count. She can afford to show a little bit more off the plate.
Jorgensen chases one up high, and it falls over the outfielders. 1 run is scored. 2 runs have scored. She's going to clear them all. Another bases loaded, 2 out clearing double from a Hills Heat player. That's accounted for half their runs, and now it's 12-3.
Jorgensen got enough of that one to clear the head of Charlie Nash. Her great season continues, her 9th hit of the year. Had a couple of RBIs there as well, so very important leadoff batter for the Hills Heat. Ruby Ballard now in the box, 4th time, and it is the 4th inning.
Well, with that knock, now every single player in the Hills lineup has scored today. That's rare. Including 6 this inning in order, but every single player has scored for the Hills Heat this game.
Including Sasha and Ella,
which
is in the same line.
Including
So
Sasha
players,
and
right?
Ella. 10 players. If you've played this game, you scored a run for Hills. Kind of shows the team effort that this has been, though. No one player with that dominating stat line or run line, but a bunch of really nice box scores for a few players.
Well, we're going to say goodbye to Steph Trzynski. She's got to go warm up for her game, and we'll be able to bring in the great man, Leah Hull, once we get his attention. So best of luck for your game today, Steph.
Thank you very much, James.
See you later, Steph Trzynski. Thanks for the insight. As always, it's jammed. Diving forward, Dubrovcek makes the play, so the inning is retired. It's the double scoreboard nightmare for any scorer at home today.
Yeah, Dubrovcek reaching out for that one and to complete the catch. We'll see the leading team's replay, but just watch it after she completes the catch. She trips over the chalk line in a second, and her team have a bit of a laugh. So good to see that they're still in good spirits, the Port Adelaide Magpies, but they've got a fair bit of work to do with about 20 minutes of game time left. They're chasing 9. We're in the middle of the 4th.
What's the run rule?
After 4 innings, it's 10.
10, yeah, they
so
just missed it.
missed that one. But after 5, it's 7 runs. But we'd probably run out of time by then. So, yeah, Heat looking for a 1-2-3 inning. But the Magpies really looking to pour a couple on. Lee, you've been watching from the stands. What have you seen so far in this game?
I've seen a lot of good hitting, James. That's what I've seen, and I'm rather surprised they didn't pass Georgia Hood up. Give up one run. What she scored 3 with that first shot there. But it's easy from the outside, of course. They're the real deal again, aren't they, the Hills?
It's a good point from you, Lee. Not just good hitting, but good 2-out hitting.
Yep.
Both of those bases loaded knocks coming with 2 outs. Lee, we were just saying before, unbelievably, every single player in the Hills Heat lineup, including Sasha Penglaze and Ella Forrester, who pinch hit for her, have scored in this game.
It tells you something. They're full of confidence, and they're a young team. That's fantastic.
Tells you that they scored at least 10 runs. Georgia Burr, did it stay fair? No, it went foul.
Not going the way of the Magpies today. Well, not since the start of the second inning, at least, where they had a 3-run lead going into the second, leading team to replay.
Ooh, that was close. Just foul. Georgia Burr struck out today. One of 4 strikeout victims from Georgia Hood. Just 13 batters faced today for Georgia Hood.
She's in good form, isn't she?
Georgia's been one of the best players in the competition since she made her debut a few years back, playing for Seacombe. Headed up the hill to spearhead the lineup, and just look at her now. She's just, like, you would not look past her and think that there's anyone better in the competition for their craft. And you look at Steph Drzezinski. I mean, she's added a string to her bow this year. She's added last year with her hitting, and that won her the CAF Coral Medal after she was able to come in about 5 or 6 games into the season to shut down the competition.
Got a big future ahead of her, Georgia Hood, doesn't she?
And also with Georgia, I think she's one of the best fielders of a pitcher I've seen. She's like a cat when she leaves the pitching rubber. Fields the ball, throws them out.
She made a couple nice plays today. You think back earlier in one of the earlier innings, a ball hit right towards her. She tagged the runner out, running towards her.
Yep.
Burr up the middle, and Perez just can't quite handle it. She goes for the second effort, but Georgia Burr leads things off.
Very important for Port Adelaide to get their lead off in this inning, and Georgia Burr just missed the hit as it sailed past the right field line earlier in her at-bat, and this time great contact to shortstop Danny Perez and gets herself on.
Tara Liddy.
We were just saying about Georgia before as well. She had some doubters earlier on, but I remember when I was helping Scott Rattigan when he was coaching at Seacombe, he just had such high raps for her, and I had the privilege of being in the dugout with her sometimes. Such a great energy that she brings. She had her doubters, though, early on as well. Some people didn't think that she had a maturity level to go on to the next level, but she hasn't. She just developed as, well, some of us expected at least anyway, and gone on to bigger things.
Jammed over towards short. Perez has a look at second. She makes the easy play. 1 down. Georgia Hood was taken to Japan with the Aussie Spirit squad and was in the mix for that roster in the summer. It's just a 21-year-old, which is quite remarkable.
She's not even 21 yet, this month.
That's right.
That's crazy as a 20-year-old.
And the overall thing about it is, look how young she is. We're not talking about a 28-year-old here. We're talking about 21, isn't she?
But we may as well be in terms of she's a 5-year veteran of the Premier League.
Yeah.
She could be the best we've ever seen in this state. She could be.
You think that's the ceiling? There not really is a ceiling with her. There are some players that come around every once in a while that you talk about for a really long time. And Georgia Hood, you're absolutely right, could be one of those players.
I don't think she's had a season where she's hit under 400. She's hitting 462 so far this year, 632 on base average. That'll boost today with a couple of hits.
She was instrumental last year in helping Will Hills to the grand final somewhat unexpectedly admittedly from my end at least, and then they had a lead in that grand final too. Georgia Hood did everything she could. Charlie Nash with a runner on second. And that'll be strikeout number 5 for Georgia Hood. She'll be in the lead temporarily at least for strikeouts in the competition. Jade Peterson will pitch later today.
I saw Jade just before. She was lingering around. She likes to look over the shoulder of producer Brandon to get a score check or an update. But yeah, she'll know exactly how many strikeouts Georgia's got.
Runner advances to third. Probably still just enough time. We'll look at the umpires to get another inning in. Only played 77 minutes. Just the one unearned run so far for Georgia Hood today.
No,
the one earned run, two unearned.
No Georgia Ballard today, boys?
Well, I saw over in the distance on Diamond 9 a Hills Heat team playing, so might have been the reason why there's only one bench player as well for this team.
Yeah.
A clash of A and B grade.
Swing and a miss for Oates.
Lee, Oates isn't a player we've seen too much in the Premier League. Do you know too much about her?
I don't know much about her except that she was a Port player back a few years ago. I believe that's what they told me. But no, I don't know a lot of her, James. A lot about her, that is.
Swing and a miss. 2 strikes on Oates, full count. Came after her with some heat.
Look at the look on the pitcher's face, Georgia Hood. She's just enjoying her work, isn't she? That's half the battle.
Oates puts one the other side. Almost takes out first base coach and she's smiling about it.
Lenny Callahan went diving for her life over there. We normally see Cara Tilton over there.
Yep.
She's returning to playing after recovering from a knee injury, knee surgery. So is that a sign that maybe she's playing B grade today?
Could be. It's been a long time, hasn't it, for Tara?
Oates again battles one away.
Cara, that is.
Decent body language still from the Magpies, even though they are down. Probably a sign of a good team.
And also a sign of a young team too, isn't it? It's hard to get rid of the enthusiasm when you're young.
2 of the youngest teams in the competition and the 2 leaders in batting average.
Whoa.
Oates, big shot towards center. Jorgensen underneath it. Makes the play, no harm, no foul, even though the runner gets to third. Through 4 innings, it is a commanding 12-3 lead for Hills Heat.
Well, that's what Hills Heat would have wanted, just to get the job done. They'll go into a 5th, but it will be the final inning because time is against the Magpies at the moment.
Gee, we've been lucky with the weather, haven't we?
We've duck dodged, dived our way through
Loved
the
and
storm.
waved. Yep.
Cell that was all around. There's a lot of thunder rumbling around the grounds to start the day. Charlotte Dobrozchak still going back out in the circle.
This will be a 5th inning of work. Yo Grau has thrown 21 innings. Now Dobrozchak's into a 20th. So sharing the workload 50-50, you'd say, whereas on the flip side of this game, it is Georgia Hood that's thrown every pitch so far this year. We know that Millie Fidge is normally the ace for Sturt, but we saw Poppy Carmen throw today. That's probably after the effects of the line drive that she got off Georgia Hood during this season. But it's probably important for every team to have a backup. That's probably the one weakness I see in the Hills lineup so far this season, is that they probably don't have that backup pitcher.
Well, I guess we don't know if they have a backup because we haven't seen a backup yet this year. The only team that's used all those innings.
No, the problem would come more
Might
so.
be handy to have, though.
The problem would come through an injury to George more than anything, I think. She's not going to lose her form. Yes, it's a very good point. So I don't know who's next cab off the rank.
Georgia Hood is 2 for 3 today. She's got a single and a double and 3 RBI. She started a parade of 6 consecutive hits back in the 4th inning. A few big innings right now. In fact, just 2 big innings where they've scored 6 in the 2nd and 6 in the 4th. That is the game story for Hills. Every player, all 10 of them that have played in this game have scored a run. Georgia Hood up the middle, off to Broschek, over to Liddy, over to first, and not in time.
That was a great play from Liddy. It deflected off the glove of Dubrovcek. I thought it was going to Dolphin every day of the week, but she's made a great play. She's made good ground on the backhand side. Let's have a look at the leading team's replay. Nearly made it as well. Good transition.
3-hit day for Georgia Hood.
Make it 9 on the season, and that's actually 9 from 14. That's pretty reasonable batting average there. The on-base percentage will climb as well.
Yeah, 3 for 4 day today for Georgia Hood.
This girl, Megan Williams, normally a smart batter. Takes her time, doesn't rush into playing a shot.
The batting average climbs to 529 for the season.
What's she on the day? 9 for 17 now?
Yeah, 9 for 17.
With how many walks? She's got a few walks too, hasn't she?
Yeah, 6 walks.
So her
2
on-base
intentionals.
percentage would be up there.
Catcher Maslin wasn't impressed with that call, I don't think.
Megan Williams has reached on all 3 appearances today. She's got a walk and reached on an error and a hit. Lifted to center field. Dolphin makes the play. 1 down.
You've been testing me today with the stats, Eric. 625 on-base percentage for Georgia Hood. As
okay.
live stats, 529 batting average. So just killing it at the moment, Georgia Hood.
That works. Has she got to the point yet? I'm going to test you again. Has she got to the point where she's either scored or driven in more than she's allowed? She had 3 RBI today.
That puts her up to 6. Her earned runs is 7 for the season,
and
plus
she's
the
11.
1 today. So
Getting close.
Yeah. Another hit from Perez, so multiple hit game for her. Her batting average will be on the rise as well.
2 RBI from Danny Perez.
Timeout called from Coach Scott Humphreys. Well, he's not worried about the score. He's not worried about the clock. So not too sure what the question is. You're up by 9 in the last inning of the game. You've got to win it. I'm not sure what this conversation's going to be about. He's used all his bench players.
Just 1 out so far in the inning as well. So they're threatening.
You're not stealing. You're not bunting. Not when you're 9 up.
Maybe they're saying, look, we're going to go overtime in this game. We're likely finishing past 5:30. I know dinner plans were at 6:15. Change them. But it's a great point. What could it possibly be? Still runners on first and second. Peyton Daniels. Couple hits today. That middle of the lineup, so dangerous. 2 hits from Daniels, 2 hits from Perez. 3 times reached for Megan Williams, 3 hits from Hood. 3, 4, 5, and 6 getting it done. And then Forrester and Penglaze at 7 have a hit each.
Well, besides that first inning, it's just been a dominant performance from the Hills Heat.
Yeah, don't forget they were down 1-2-3 to start the game and then allowed 3 runs. And since then, they have stormed back with 12 runs. Daniels, high in the air, drifting over towards a car.
Yeah.
David Muggleton, you can survive another day.
So, and they're 6-1 coming into today, and with their only loss coming against the Hills Heat, and that was 7-0. So they're just able to beat every team they've come up against except the Hills Heat. They've got their number this year.
Hard hit ball. Daniels to center field. Dolphin makes the play. Runner will tag.
I've got a stat for you, Eric. Amelia Dolphin took that magnificent dive and catch against the Falcons earlier this year.
Bell, off a Bell.
Off a Bell White in a screaming line drive, no doubt as well. That was only her second catch of the year.
What?
Gee.
Well, Port Adelaide on the season entering the game, they had outscored opponents 47-17. That live look at it right now would be 50-29. But they've been outscored by Port Adelaide 19-3.
By the Hills, yeah.
By the Hills, sorry. Which is just
19 of the 29 runs that they've given up in 7 games have been against this team.
19 of the 29. They've outscored other teams 47-10. And they've been outscored by the Hills Heat 19-3. That is a stat that doesn't make a lot of sense, but the numbers don't lie.
Well, the elephant in the room in that conversation is that Yo Grauer has not played in either of those games.
No. But 12 and 7's a lot. Port, Yo Grauer, I know she contributes a lot offensively, and no Gemma Letton today. No Jess Maslin in the first time they played, so it's 2 key bats gone, but it's not like this team, as Maslin makes the catch.
I think Maslin was playing first in that game that they lost, but that'll end the 5th inning for the Hills Heat. They will need to come in to make the 3 outs to close it, but you don't think anyone's going to put 9 in 1 inning against Georgia Hood. Not even this team, the best hitting team.
And they've only put 3 runs on the board, and only 1 of them have been earned versus Georgia Hood this year. With or without key players in the lineup, it's not a lot.
Well, the game that Hills had Wednesday night, wasn't it, against Sturt, they were right in it. They were in the box seat. It was 1-0, and then it was 1-0, and then a hit from Rachel Tonkin just about brought in the winning run, I think, from memory. I have had a couple of sleeps since then, mate.
Well, this will be the final inning, the final last 3 outs that you'll see. 6 runs in the second, 6 runs in the fourth. Great team hitting top to bottom, but most impressively, 2 moments made a big difference in this game. It was bases loaded for Georgia Hood early in the game with 2 outs, and she cleared them with a double. Bases loaded with 2 outs in the 4th inning, and Abby Jorgensen cleared them with a double. That accounts right there. 2 swings of the bat for 6 runs. It's a whole different ball game if those 2 moments don't happen. So clutch hitting across the board for Hills Heat, who are looking to move to 4-3 and just tighten up that top a little bit.
Yeah, next week's games are also going to help shape the ladder, because a couple of big games coming up. We'll get to those in a moment.
Zoe Thompson, the batter. Swing and a miss with some heat.
Yeah, so thanks very much to Spacequake Sports. Another double header, so hopefully we can get a couple more of these in during the season, but next Saturday just be the 1 game. But Wednesday night,
0-2 pitch.
Wednesday night's games are going to be Walkerville versus Glenelg. They had a tight game last time. They played 2-1, but the game that we'll be broadcasting live right here on Softball SA social media is the Sturt Falcons versus the Port Magpies. So another big game for Charlotte Dobrocek.
Well, the winner of that game will effectively go to the top. Dolphin puts it in play. Perez charges on, makes the play. Right now, Port looking like they're about to go to 6-2. Sturt are 5-2. Meaning if Sturt win that game, they'd move to 6-2. Port Adelaide on the winning percent. I know they'd be equal points, but winning percentage effectively
goes to runs against, which Sturt Falcons have been misers. They've been able to keep everyone's score right down this year.
Goes to runs against, but in terms of, so hard to look at that until everyone's played equal games in the season. It would be 1 step ahead for Sturt should they win that game.
Then next Saturday, 2 o'clock right here, it will be Port Adelaide versus Walkerville. So another big game. Port Adelaide will be hoping to see the return of Gemma Letton and Yo Grauer. Walkerville, on the other hand, will not.
Port Adelaide started 6-1 this year. They started 7-0, I think it was last year, or 5-0 last year. They were up there.
And 9-0 the year that Katie Sutherland Finch was here.
They're fast starters, but that's not when you win You can lose a championship early in the season, but you can't win it. Georgia Hood right now looking for her 6th strikeout in this inning. If she does that, I think that would make her the first to 50.
First to 50, Jade Peterson hanging around the 49 mark. On pace for a double 100.
2-2 count.
That's pretty quick going considering there's only 25 games in the year. And the quality of the hitters that we've been talking about today littered throughout the competition.
And teams are only playing games 7 or 8 right now. Just outside, full count. Patient at bat from Amelia Dolphin. Wow, it's crazy to think that this game started with 3 quick runs, with Dolphin, Chillingworth, and Maslin crossing the plate in the first inning. The game has changed dramatically since then, but it's all been one direction. It's a walk. Just the first walk of the day for Georgia Hood.
Patient batting, wasn't it, from Mills? Now we've got to see if Mills are on wheels. What are they going to do here? They've got to go hitting, surely.
38 innings of work on the season for Georgia Hood, just a 15th walk.
That without knowing the stat off the top of my head, that feels down from last year.
Yeah, I think Georgia, as she was in her first couple of seasons in the Premier League, it was almost a walk per strikeout or a walk per inning even. Maybe even higher walk percentage than strikeouts, but not anymore. She's just developed so well into a game winner, a strikeout pitcher, a team leader, competition leader as well.
Probably a symptom, though, of a young pitcher, that walk to inning or strikeout rate. See that with Charlotte Dubrovcek today. Couple innings, just a few walks, got away.
Just deflected off the mask of Georgia King. You can see the ball has left a mark on that mask, and those catcher's masks are built so well. They'll absorb that blow. It's just the shock. When it hits you, she shows no signs of it affecting her. Leading teams replay shows it as well.
Outside.
This is one batter that can hit Georgia Hood, I believe. And I think it might be just right now.
Chillingworth in the air, over towards right. Penglaze makes the play, and they're down to their final out.
Well, Forrester did come in.
Oh, Forrester, sorry, yep.
Penglaze complete the catch. There she is on screen. And down to their last out now, Port Adelaide. What a strange day, Lee. We saw Walkerville and Sturt earlier today. You were part of the action for that one.
Yep.
In a blowout in the end.
Yeah,
but it looked like Walkerville were a chance early.
But we saw so many outstanding outs and plays, didn't we, Eric?
It was crazy.
They were going. Chelsea Robinson went to shortstop for Walker. We've seen her play for the state under-19s there. She was terrific.
12 plays Chelsea Robinson made in the game at shortstop.
Yeah. And then
she's a ball magnet.
Belle White's gone 4 for 4 and put one over the fence. And then Ruby DeBro, she came to run in her first A-grade, first Premier League game last game, I think it was. She's put one over the left field fence.
First hit in Premier League is a home run.
And I might add, I did not predict that. It's all downhill from there, isn't it? If your first hit goes over the fence.
Oh, yeah, I had a strange start to my day, but I did see Ruby DeBro, and I caught her beforehand, and she'd played in the school competition this morning, and I saw her, and she looked up and about. Maybe I would have predicted it, Lee.
Oh, maybe. But
she's an absolute
superstar.
I say
it's rather late to do
well,
that
she's
now.
played in the fully loaded competition the last couple of years, so we've seen a little bit of her. She's joined us in the commentary box.
She's great.
Did she play 16 state?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I thought.
And she's in the under-18 group. She did the
Okay.
Dragons camp last off-season earlier this year, and she was terrific in that as well.
Callahan up the middle. It's another hit for Port Adelaide. They got 2 runners on, and Jess Maslin can try to pad her stats.
What a great shot from Callahan. Her team down to their last out. The fight in this young Magpies team is in there. It is, although they have lost this game, it is still warning shots to the competition that they're going to be tough to beat throughout the year.
Yeah, as I said before, boys, young people, they can find fight. Wouldn't Jess Maslin like to hit a long shot right now?
She's got a couple RBIs already today. She had a single, and she struck out looking.
Leading team's replay. That one went straight through the legs of Hood. We saw her take a catch last year, very similar.
Maslin was looking for it, down to their final strike.
Determined look on the face of Jess Maslin.
Yeah, very much so.
You're not expecting anything else but that, I wouldn't have thought, with Jess. And Belle White, going back to the previous game, Belle White, what about that catch she took in foul territory?
Unbelievable place.
Horizontal, to say the least.
Or Maddie Cameron's diving catch in center field.
Oh, yeah, that was a beauty. But Chelsea Robinson, 12 plays at shortstop.
Have we seen Walkerville's strongest lineup this year? With if Steph was at third, that means no Lupino.
I don't know where Ash has
was
gone.
missing. Yeah,
Ash has been missing from the start, hasn't she? I haven't seen her. I might have
Well,
to.
Lupino's played a couple games.
yep, yeah. She's been in the lineup this year.
Must have been games I missed or something because I hadn't seen her. I just thought about that. But Walkerville looked all right. Initially, Walkerville looked all right.
They were in the game.
But
They had runners on second and third and 2 outs in the second of the last inning. 2-2 count. Hood trying to close this out, and she does.
In style with a strikeout against Jess Maslin. So a tough day for the Port Magpies, you'd say, but a great day for the team in green, the Hills Heat, beating top of the table Port Magpies for the second time this season.
Every single player, all 10 of them who played today, scored a run for the Hills Heat. A bunch of clutch 2-out hits, and that really kind of sums it up. After a sluggish start for the Heat, they really stormed back.
Lee, does that give the Hills Heat favouritism going later into the season, seeing that they can beat the top of the table Port Magpies, or you still got some questions?
I've got questions because I think while Steph Trzynski pitches for West Torrens, they're still a big chance. But what else can you
Grauer,
say?
maybe?
Yeah, Grauer, the Grauer factor, and Letton. Let's not undersell Gemma. They're both big pluses, but you can only go by what the people out there, the games you play. You can only play those games on the day. I think it's line ball, I think.
I think the only thing that's certain right now in this competition is that there is no certainty when it comes to trying to pick who the leading horse is in this competition right now. It is tight.
And that's why it's so interesting this season so far. It's been really tight most games.
Heat big winners in this one. They race away after allowing the first 3. They scored 12 straight runs. That'll wrap up our coverage today. Doubleheader coverage. Thanks to everybody for joining us for live softball action here at Softball SA on beautiful Ghana land. On behalf of everybody on the Spacequake sports crew throughout the day, Lana Kaesler and Steph Trzynski, some Kath Coral medalists calling the action for us today. Of course, yourself, Lee Hull, and you, James Harris, and the man, the myth, the producer, Brandon, calling all the shots behind the scenes. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you on Wednesday night.